The Seattle Kraken have won 4 games in a row. Can they make it 5 tonight against the Rangers? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I had a family situation to deal with on Friday, but luckily the Seattle Kraken took care of business against Chicago, against the Islanders. So that means that we've got we're not going to call it the bootleg Davy Jones hat anymore. I actually have been on Blue Sky, speaking of, thank you, North Carolina. For those listening on audio, I am at my alma mater right now, actually, and there's a beautiful blue sky, a nice building, and some foliage behind me. Anyway, I'm grateful that the Seattle Kraken took care of business because we're going to call it the UMA hat. Thank you for one of my longtime OGers that reminded me that the whole reason I have this pirate hat is because I dressed up as Uma even before I became host of Locked On Kraken. So we're going to lean into the Uma hat. I have bedazzled it a little bit, and hopefully I can keep adding as the Seattle Kraken keep winning. But we've got the winning hat, the Uma hat on, because again, 2 more home wins, 4 in a row, going for 5 against the New York Rangers. And this is a team that needs these wins. They're above 500 now. They need these wins. And if you listen to the show, I am hesitant to impart and impress my opinions on an athlete's confidence on them. That being said, I want you to hear, and we're going to play some clips from Yanni Gourde first and then Andre Burakovsky a little bit later. This team has been feeling it. I mean, we on the show have been feeling it, right? Wondering what is going to give. When are the lessons, the messages that the front office, that Dan Bilesma, that arguably even as teammates and peers, when are the lessons, the messages, the calls for doing better? When is it going to stick? When are they going to see results? And what I particularly liked about hearing from Dan Bilesma, and again, you'll hear from Yanni Gourde and from Andre Burakovsky, is that they gave us a reminder of what we know. There are no guarantees. You can play the right way and still not win a game. You can play arguably the way you don't want to play and lose a game. And we've talked about that on Locked On Kraken. But, I want to just recap some of what Dan Bilesma said after the Islanders win, where the Seattle Kraken, they were able to get the first goal in the first period. He talked about, getting that first goal against Chicago, but didn't necessarily feel that way because it came later in the game. But, he talked about how it was a tough game. He was talking about the Islanders in the clip that I'm going to recap here on my handy dandy notes. This is Elon, the university, not the person, just to be clear. Thank you. Anyway, started early is what he liked, but they didn't push. He felt that he wants the team to start early in the right ways, doing the right kinds of things, and that is what the team was able to do. You don't want to push for that first goal, but if you do the things that you need to do, you show up on time, you're aggressive, you're communicating. How much have we been talking about the players saying you want to be predictable? And he says, you let the first goal happen by how you play. And that's what happened for the Seattle Kraken in the last 2 games against Chicago and then against the Islanders yesterday. I'm recording this on Sunday. And that's huge. And Andre Burakovsky, we're going to hear from him a little bit later as to why perhaps this is happening. But another thing is that Jamie Alexiak, who got who did get the game-winning goal on Saturday, and Dan Bilesma once again told us that the Yanni Gourde line is kind of the spearhead of playing the right way, doing the right things, spearheading the charge. If we go to Allison Lucan's post-game instant analysis, the Yanni Gourde line continued to lead the way. In 8:57 of ice time, he, Brandon Tanev, and Ty Cartier were a plus 16 in shot attempts, and generated 83.5% of all shot quality when they were on the ice. This is what Dan Bilesma said about Yanni Gourde. Said the Gourde line is playing well, and particularly about Yanni, said he's been around the net a lot and he's playing the right way. And the weight of playing the right way, but not necessarily getting the results, has been weighing on Yanni Gourde. Here's what Yanni had to tell media after the game when he finally put one in the back of the net.
Ready? Yanni, you guys got some goals today from a lot of offense from people that haven't been scoring a lot of goals this year, yourself included. I mean, how big is that now with guys like Jordan missing and you're still waiting for Vince to come back?
No, it's good. I mean, everybody wants to contribute offensively, and I'm really happy that I could help out the team on tonight.
You looked really happy when you scored. Obviously, what
did I?
Yeah, you really.
Thank you for noticing.
You're welcome. You're welcome. What's been the key for you? Is it just continuing to do what you've done before? Go to the net?
Yeah, but honestly, it was challenging. It's tough to be out there and feel like you don't help out that much your team to win games. There's certainly other areas where I thought my game was good, but offensively, I wanted to help out my team win every single night, and I haven't been able to do that, and it's wearing on me. And getting the first one tonight felt really good, as you noticed. Thank you again. And then I mean it's you wanna get on the scoreboard whenever you have a chance.
So what do you tell yourself when you're getting down on yourself? I mean,
I'm just trying to grind games, like trying to do the right things. I'm trying to get to the scoring areas. I'm trying to get open for opportunity. What I'm telling myself is just keep working hard, and hopefully it comes sooner than later.
Gordo, this is one of those games that you grind. I mean, you lost the lead, you came back in the 4-game winning streak. Now the confidence has to be growing with this group. So every game.
Definitely. We looked good in the first period. Second period, I thought we didn't have momentum. Our changes weren't right. We weren't in the second period. I thought when we're changing right, we keep the momentum, we keep the pressure on them. It's one of our strengths because we have so much depth on this team. But we didn't get that in the second period today. But we battled hard in the third and got the opportunity, and were able to take the win.
Yanni, on a back-to-back, just where do you see room to build on this one tomorrow and maybe tighten things up?
There's always area where we need to get better at, starting in the D zone, limiting their time and space. They can stick away when they shoot from the point, but other than that, we just gotta keep rolling, keep trying to stack up wins.
Thanks, Yanni.
Yanni Gourde talking after the game, saying it's been difficult for him to feel like he's not helping the team win games. And, he's a leader on this team. I think he takes a lot of pride in being a leader on this team. And that's why it's been so difficult for me to talk about Yanni Gourde potentially being one of the people that we see maybe not make it once we get Vince Dunn back. And because he plays the right way and he's finally starting to find the back of the net. But the Yanni Gourde line, it is his line. He is the centerman. He is the leader of that line. And he's been such a great moral leader for this Seattle Kraken team. So I loved hearing him talk about effectively a little bit of a weight lifted. And I hope that frees him up. But he's not the only one playing with a little bit of a lighter load and feeling like they're actually finding their confidence, finding their stride. And that's really critical because what we also saw this weekend is Daniel Sprong crack the lineup. And so we have Daniel Sprong. We also heard from Dan Bilesma that another roster change was in the works for this weekend. And unfortunately, that's because The Seattle Kraken, at least until the next handful of days, at the earliest, will be without their captain, Jordan Eberle. Let's talk about that coming up on today's episode of Locked On Kraken. So today's episode of Locked On Kraken brought to you by Game Time. I'm on the road once again. You know my favorite thing when I'm on the road and not working, this was a work trip, is to check out Game Time to see what is happening in the area, whether it's sporting events, theater, comedy, all of the things that you want to do when you've got some time off, hang out with family, hang out with friends, and just have a good time. But having a good time doesn't mean that you have to spend more than you need to. And that's because Game Time has so many different ways to save you money. Game Time Picks is a curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. They also have the all-in pricing, which is a toggled feature you can use in the app that will show you exactly what you're going to pay up front with no surprise fees at checkout, so you can stay within a budget. The seats, the views from the seat. I mean, I think I have a pretty nice view right behind me here at the campus of my alma mater. But you want to make sure that you're going to be in a place that's going to make you feel like you can enjoy and appreciate the sport, the art, the comedy, the action. And of course, there's the lowest price guarantee. Game Time will get you the lowest price for your event in the section in the row of your choice, or they will give you 110% of your purchase back. That's the Game Time guarantee, baby. So what we want you to do is head over to Game Time, download the app, and create an account. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and that will get you $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, just go ahead and create that account. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and redeem LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Download that Game Time app today. What time is it? It's game time. Thanks as always for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily destination. It is a game day on a Sunday, a back-to-back for the Seattle Kraken. Now, we've seen Joey Daccord in net. We've talked about this. We talked about it with Zame on our Thursday episode. Again, I unfortunately, because of a family situation, had to miss Friday's episode, but we did see Joey Daccord in the last two games against Chicago, against the Islanders. Not considered a quality start against Chicago. That was a little bit of a wonky game for the Seattle Kraken, but what the theme of this Kraken team has been is that they are grinding out wins. And we're starting to see that other players on the roster are contributing offensively. And with the absence of Jared McCann, who went down in that game against Chicago, that's going to be huge. It's going to be huge for the Seattle Kraken to get contributions from throughout the lineup. And although they are without Jared McCann being evaluated, I saw on social media that some fans and other reporters saw him at the arena using crutches. So we're not exactly sure how long he's going to be out, but we know that he will not play at all this weekend, which includes, of course, tonight's game against the New York Rangers. Hopefully that gives him enough time to rest and recuperate to be evaluated. And we don't want to see Eberle. We don't want to see another player on long-term injured reserve. We already have Vince Dunn there, but to make sure that, especially on a back-to-back, that you're getting rest for players who need it. Perhaps they have a tweak here or there. And in the unfortunate case, if there is another injury, the Seattle Kraken have recalled Ben Meyers from Coachella Valley. I really liked what he was doing in training camp. I would have been fine if he found his way on the Seattle Kraken roster. That didn't happen. He's been great for Coachella Valley. What we heard from Dan Bilesma is that bringing in a player like Ben Meyers, it gives you a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of cushion. If he's able to crack the roster, he didn't against the Islanders. We have a back-to-back, an afternoon game against the Islanders, a night game against the Rangers tonight. Potentially could see him. And if we do see him, what Dan Bilesma likes is that he offers versatility. He's a player that can play on the wing and at center. So if you need to see a different lineup, if Yanni Gourde, Matty Beniers, or Shane Wright, as an example. Even the Chandler Stevenson, our centerman, effectively, I probably could have just said that. If any of our centermen need a little bit of a rest, just a maintenance day, if they need to be maintaining, as we once heard Dan Bilesma say, this gives some flexibility if indeed we need that without feeling any added pressure. Now, this is a Rangers team that, we feel that we can have some confidence, I'm sure, with the 4 games that we've played. However, this is a Seattle Kraken team that has had to grind out wins. We are not in the clear. There is still a lot of work that we need to do. You just heard from Yanni Gourde in that clip I played in the first segment that a part of that is defense. I love hearing it because I'm always talking about defense. The Seattle Kraken, they know they can shore up some things in certain areas, but Ben Meyers just gives them that flexibility. At the time that I'm recording, we haven't heard from Dan Bilesma yet. No morning skate today, so we don't know exactly what the lineup is going to look like. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Ben Meyers. Also, wouldn't be surprised, and we probably are going to see Philip Grubauer in net. And we talk about this so much on Locked On Kraken. Sometimes, for whatever reason, Seattle plays differently in front of Philip Grubauer. I'm hoping that's not the case. We haven't seen Gruby in a while. He had a gnarly injury at home that we've talked about on the show. So hopefully the Seattle Kraken can just lock in, do what they need to do. And really looking to see what Daniel Sprong is going to do. We saw him in action against the Islanders. It was a game that the Seattle Kraken once again had to battle back. They had to fight back. And so if we look at some of the data just from NHL.com, and we take a look at the numbers for Daniel Sprong. Now, he does not get on the score sheet in this game, but it's his first game back. We heard from Dan Bilesma that the call really is to not overthink things, to play his game. He talked about, he said that he just wants Daniel Sprong to go out and play. That this is just him getting reacclimated. And so if we take a look at the numbers, he was on the ice for almost 11 minutes. He had a -1, wasn't able to generate any goals or assists. Like I said, didn't get on the score sheet, 13 shifts overall. So, that was the fewest from all active forwards. Not surprising there, but it's going to take a little while. So the fact that they have Daniel Sprong, someone who has a knack for the net, that is getting reacclimated to the team, is going to be huge. This is going to not just Ben Meyers, but Daniel Sprong, I think, could be players that we see being asked to do definitely more than they did against the Islanders, because that game, again, was just yesterday. But coming up on Locked On Kraken, I want to talk about Andre Burakovsky. I've been talking about him for a while. You know that Zame and I really want to see him get activated. But similarly to what we heard from Yanni Gourde, Andre Burakovsky has opened up about what it's been like to maybe not feel that he's producing at the level, at the clip that he wants to, that he needs to, and effectively that he's expected to on this Seattle Kraken roster. He did get another assist, so that's great. But I just want you to hear from Andre about where he's at in his game, and hopefully we can figure out, as I talked about a few episodes ago, how to unlock Berky as the season continues. We'll get into that coming up on today's episode of Locked On Kraken. Today's episode of Locked On Kraken brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com and join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 Sportsbook, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and of course, us here at the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily destination. Again, thank you for understanding that Friday was a little bit of a tough day for me. Had to handle some family business, but I'm back. I'm safe. I'm happy. I'm healthy. Everyone's good to go. And we are talking about the Seattle Kraken on a game day. The Rangers come into town. The Seattle Kraken riding a 4-game win streak, which is why I've got my Pirates hat on, the UMA hat on. And we want to see them be able to continue this. Now, the Seattle Kraken right now are in a period of time where they're still having to grind out wins, still heavily relying on Joey Gourde and likely goaltending for the rest of the night, because we're likely going to see Philip Grubauer tonight, but they still have to rely on goaltending. They still have to rely on that Yanni Gourde line, that third line, to be the grit, to be the guts for this team. But we are starting to see other players become unlocked. Andre Burakovsky opened up a little bit about what the journey has been like for him. So let's hear what Berky had to say after the Islanders win.
Kind of help offset the loss of an offensive player like that.
Just play my game. I mean, I'm usually, I would say I'm usually up there, and I usually play on the top 6, and usually creates a lot of offense and just do what I do. So I mean, it's nothing different from what I'm trying to do every single night.
You made that pass to Jared for the tying goal. You had some good chances today and in the previous games. Have you felt better at all in the last few games than you did maybe to start the season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think confidence is a big key. It's hard to play when you're not really feeling a whole lot of confidence. That's one thing I think has been coming back here in the, I don't know, last 8 games or something. I'm feeling confident having the puck. That was something I was maybe struggling a little bit with before. That when I got nervous. Didn't really know what to do. Didn't see the ice as well, but it's all up here. It's nothing that you just forget. And that's something that I really think has been coming back. I feel like I really want the puck a lot. I want the puck on my stick, and I want to make plays. I want to escape with it and create chances and opportunities for my line mate and teammates, and that's something I really think has been coming back to me.
What changed for the confidence to start coming back for you?
I mean, just trying to stay positive in areas where maybe on the ice, not to try to do those things that you usually do on a regular basis that are maybe like a tougher play to make. Maybe just trying to do a little bit more of the simple stuff, chip it out, send some pucks to the net, go in the forecheck, not maybe trying to stick handle the guy that's across from you or stuff like that. You're just keeping it simple and get into the game and feel good about those little things that you can do to build up some confidence, and then when you feel better and more secure about your play, then maybe ramp it up a bit and try and take it to the next level. And then when you feel good about that, try and take it next level again.
Can you kind of walk us through that play with Jared and when you saw him and trying to get it to him off the board there?
I mean, like, you kind of know it's. I think that was more like an instinct play. That's also one of those plays that maybe I didn't see earlier on in the season that are coming back. That I kind of know somewhere in my head that he's going to be there, because that's the way we play, and just trust your gut. I mean, I got it and turned, and I just sent it there, and it was on his tape.
So there is Andre Burakovsky. I mean, being pretty upfront with what he's been dealing with, how it's been feeling to not be able to contribute in the ways that he has in the past, in the ways that he wants to. And he was asked to break down that goal. He set up Jared McCann. And, that was a critical goal for the Seattle Kraken. Talking about knowing and having that instinct of where your teammate is going to be. We've been talking about that a lot on the last few episodes, the guys wanting to be predictable. Things are starting to really set in right now. The team also is starting to trust the process, trust the systems. Burakovsky said that later in his media availability, and that is critical. We knew it was going to take a little bit of time. It's a new coaching staff for the most part, not unfamiliar, but still new at this level. And there is a change that needed to happen. And so it's not like Dan Bilesma was going to come in and just kind of dip his toe in the water and try to feel things out. He had to kind of wreck it. He had to push some things in certain areas, everything from naming a captain to saying that this is a team that's going to play fast. I think that he really put this team in the cycle early on, which I personally loved. I loved that training camp was difficult. I loved that practices during preseason were difficult because the season is going to be difficult. And what we're seeing now is in this 4-game winning streak, the Seattle Kraken are winning difficult games. Now, should they be this difficult? That's another conversation. And I would argue that at times, no. But we're getting over that. We are not staying stuck in the shortcomings or the things that aren't going our way. We're finding ways to get after the game. Early starts, winning puck battles, fighting back. Even Joey Decourde, shorthanded goal, let one through. The team, shorthanded goal. You don't want to see that. But then late in the game, when the team has the lead and the Islanders have a chance to tie it up late in the third period, Joey Decourde comes up with a big stop. Now, I'm using that as an example. Again, goaltending really hasn't been the issue, but it's the bounce back. We're seeing a resilience in this Seattle Kraken team that, quite honestly, we haven't always seen in the last 3 seasons. No surprise that the season that they get to the playoffs is when we saw it the most. But we also saw that fourth line be the most critical, integral, the guiding light for the Kraken. And that is happening again with inserting Daniel Sprong now back into the roster. It's going to be very interesting to see if the Seattle Kraken can find more offensive productivity throughout the lineup. That's what needs to happen. And I think that what we're also hearing from a player like Andre Burakovsky is that they know they have to start showing results with consistency. Now, Andre Burakovsky being able to set up his teammates consistently, quite honestly, hasn't been the issue. But now we need him to level that up. We need him to be able to find the back of the net. And I think that will happen. He says his confidence is back. He says he's starting to feel the things that you just want to feel and not have to think about. That's all good news. And hopefully it will lead to a 5th win in a row for the Seattle Kraken team. Not going to be easy. Not exactly sure what we're going to see in net, although I think we can assume since it's a back-to-back that we will not see Joey Decourde. But the Seattle Kraken are not out of the woods. They are not in the clear. Yes, my goodness, that was a Taylor Swift reference. I'm just going with it. I know y'all love it, so we'll go with it. They're not out of the woods. They're not in the clear. There's still a lot of work to do, but this team seems like they are committed to the work. And at times I question that. Not that they didn't have the ability, but did they have the resolve? Did they have the drive? And again, making some of those roster moves, putting some players as healthy scratches, I think maybe that woke them up a little. Here's hoping. So as we always close out, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to one another. And especially tonight, for those of you at Climate Pledge Arena, hold fast, stay true, and let's go Kraken. I'll be listening to our radio broadcast just like I have for the last handful of games. And yes, I will have my UMA hat, hoping that I will be able to dust it off when I get back to headquarters for our Monday episode, hopefully to recap another Seattle Kraken win. Until then, I will catch you on the next episode. Peace out, everybody.